Notre Dame fans, welcome back to another edition of the Irish Breakdown podcast. My name is Brian Driscoll. I'm the publisher at irishbreakdown.com. That guy over there is Vince Adair. He's our football analyst. And Vince, you were texting me like about a half an hour ago, like this is going to be a fun show because you've been watching a lot of North Carolina offensive film.
That's correct.
And this is the matchup that I think everyone's most interested in seeing. I think that the Notre Dame offense against the Notre Dame defense might be the most important to victory, but that's because of how good I think this North Carolina offense can be. Now, it's been a very inconsistent group this year, far more inconsistent than it was last year. I don't think it's as talented as it was last year at various positions. But I'm even more worried about this offense than I was last year's offense, Vince, for a number of reasons that I'm going to explain as we dive into this. But the biggest one for me is Sam Howell is a lot better this year than he was last year.
Okay.
And that's as a passer and as a runner. To me, that right there, sort of big picture, and I'm bringing this up now because it's going to impact all three of the next categories we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
He, to me, last year was a good quarterback that was a product of having great players around him. This year, he's a quarterback that has shown me to be capable of putting an offense on the shoulders. And his run-throw ability this season, to me, makes him very dangerous, and that is something that has given this Notre Dame offense problems or defense problems.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say that he's your prototypical dual threat quarterback, but he's very effective when he runs the ball.
He is a passing quarterback that can run.
Yes, right. Absolutely. And he seems to run they do have called runs for him. Obviously, they do some draw stuff. They do a little bit of quarterback power, short yardage type situations. But he kind of reminds me a little bit of Notre Dame's quarterback last year in that
as a runner. Let's make sure we're real clear on that.
Very clear on that. In that, when he sees a crease, when he drops back to pass, he is going to take it.
Yeah.
He's going to go because I don't think he 100% trusts his offensive line. So if he sees an area to go, he's going to go. And he's very effective. And he is not willing, for the most part, to slide. He's going to take on tacklers, and he's shifty. He's like deceivingly shifty. When he runs the ball too,
which is why I think that book comparison athletically is really is a good one.
Yeah,
and we'll dive into how and we'll dive into how his athleticism has made them better than last year's offense in some areas. But this matchup for me, Vince, is concerning because this is a potent North Carolina offense. It's like I said, it's inconsistent. You don't know which one's gonna show up. The one thing I think that's good for Notre Dame is as you watch that film and you watch this year's film and last year's film and you look at this offense and you think about how good it's been, there's been a theme the last 2 years with one exception as to when this offense really looks good, and that has been mainly when they've been at home.
Yeah.
North Carolina has not been a great road team. Now, I think a lot of people don't realize that because a lot of people didn't really – a lot of Notre Dame fans especially, but a lot of college football fans, I feel like last year the only time they really paid attention to North Carolina was late in the year against Notre Dame, and then in the postseason late in the season when they pounded Miami. And I think that's where a lot of the hype came from. They watched that Miami game when they ran for over 500 yards and had almost 800 yards of offense, hung 62 on Miami at Miami, and then give Texas A&M a decent game and a bowl game without a bunch of their best players. And so I think that's why there was a lot of hype about this team coming into the season. This team has not been as explosive as last year's team. It's not as dynamic on a yards per play basis, but to me it's more dangerous because I think this unit matches up better against Notre Dame's defense than it did last year. And that's what I'm referring to when it's more dangerous. Not that it's better than last year's unit overall. It's not. Sure. It's better in a couple areas that then lead me to the matchup specifically against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest concern. So